All right, everyone. Last looks. Quiet on set. Roll sound. Sound speed. Roll camera. Camera speed. Scene 1. Take 1. Market. And action. Hi, I'm Ed, the host of Savannah on Film, and we explore the economic and cultural impact and values of the film industry in Savannah through conversations with people who work in the industry and related fields. You can find us here on WRUU-LP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul. Welcome to the very first show of Savannah on Film. Welcome to Savannah on Film. I'm your host, Ed Susevich, and our purpose is to explore the economic and cultural impact and values of the film industry in Savannah through conversations with people who work in the industry and related fields. We are here live on WRUU 107.5 FM LP Savannah Soundings. We're community radio with global soul. And I am joined here today with Cheryl Susevich. Welcome, Cheryl, to the show here.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me on your first show.
So we do a lot of things. I'm a podcaster and sound mixer here in the Savannah area and worked with a lot of you here. And so my first guest, my wife Cheryl here, she is a regular guest on my podcast. She also is a royal blogger. She does the Princess Palace blog. And today I invited her here for her particular expertise as an interviewer.
That's right, because today we're going to flip the script, if you will. The host is going to be interviewed by the guest instead of the other way around, so that your listeners can get an idea a little bit more about you and your passion for film and your passion for radio. So shall we begin?
Yes, let the questions roll.
In the crosshairs now?
Yes, I am.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about what got you interested in the film industry to begin with.
Well, let's see. I love going to movies. Me and my friends were always into movies. We're talking about movies. I live in the movies. I'd be happy if that's where I was living. So I enjoy, I always have, seeing how movies are put together, from the special effects, the good storyline, that wonderful script that provides that, the cinematography, how visually beautiful the film is, the actors and their performances, and just every part of it, but especially the sound. I love a movie that uses sound well, and that's one of the things. And
didn't you see a film recently, though, that you were impressed by how it didn't use sound?
A Quiet Place, yes, which is a great film. And Quiet Place, how they don't use sound and how they do use sound is so intricate. It's so important. And the way I think about sound, I'm a big Star Wars nerd, or I'm sorry, geek, I prefer to be called, but it's okay. But I love the way that sound paints a picture. Picture Star Wars without John Williams' score. You know, it's just a silent movie. If you don't have good sound, you've got a silent movie. And if you're not trying to make a silent movie, then, that's that. But most people are doing, they're doing the sound thing. So I love how sound paints the picture, basically.
So you switched careers, though, and left the retail industry. So what steps did you take when you decided that you wanted to become part of the film industry? Anything in particular that you did to prepare yourself for that?
Well, I don't know if you're ever prepared. I left a career in large retail for pursuing a dream, and it's something that I hope to instill in my listeners is to follow that passion, follow that dream, that one thing that you want to do. And I've been lucky to have several things that I love to do. And it was a massive leap of faith to leave a solid job like that and follow my passion for sound and becoming a podcaster, which this is my 10th year of podcasting. And it's something I love, and I've produced several podcasts, and I'm producing one coming soon. And it was just a good fit for me. I got to go to the Georgia Film Academy, which is a wonderful program, I feel, and it really prepares you for being a production assistant and having that awareness of safety and everything you need to know to function on a movie set. There's programs like that throughout this state, the Georgia Film Academy program that assists in that. And I went to Savannah Tech. That's where I did my Georgia Film Academy training.
Yeah. You said that it prepares you across the film. So you were exposed, I guess, to all the different kinds of things you can do on a film set.
I was exposed to grip and electric, some of the hardest working people in the industry. They can do amazing things. Set dressers, very important. Hair, makeup. Your background actors, never forget your background actors they used to be called extras. I think they prefer being background actors, and that's what they are. They're vital to your film, vital to all films. But yes, I got to work with several different departments, and I've got to see how things were done from cinematography, from a director's point of view, from when I was in Georgia Film Academy. I co-wrote with a group of people. My fellow students, we co-wrote a lot of films, and we would create classes. Exciting on the premiere this weekend of our show here, Savannah on Film, is the 48-hour film festival that's happening as we speak this weekend. And I was very fortunate to work with a very talented group of people there. And I got to, when the Georgia Film Academy, it takes 2 semesters, in case you're wondering, for those who may not know. And there are really 2 semesters that are well spent. And it's super affordable. So if you're someone who's got a creative side, my instructor, John Grace, wonderful man, he told me one time, he said in class that if there is a talent that you have, any talent, there is a place for you in movies. One of the positions I remember stuck out was what's called a greener, and that's basically a person that's in charge of like putting plants on the set or whatever, and working with props and all that. But there are so many different facets to learning film. It's once you take a course, whether you're going through SCAD or you're going through and learning about films and making films, or you go through Georgia Film Academy, or even if you haven't been through any of those, fortunate enough to go through any of those programs, you're still learning very vital everyday tools that will help you succeed, that will help you get to that next level so that you can one day make a good living at working in film industry.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that there are a variety of things that people can get into, because I remember I went with you to a kind of preview orientation program.
Yes.
And one of the things I talked about was even they need drivers to work on the films. And if there are children, if there are children in the film, then they need teachers. So if you're a teacher and you want to do this, you can get into films.
John Grace, a cinematographer, and one of my mentors, one of the people I definitely look up to, he was a student teacher on several films, and besides being a cinematographer himself, and he taught us really, really well a lot of things that we needed. He gave us the tools and let us work with the tools in that GFA program. So we got that hands-on. So when we went to set, we were able to have a knowledge. Of course, the first time I went to set, I was like, mind blown, mind blown, mind blown. You know, it's a totally different world. And it's fascinating. Every day is an exciting day when you're making a film. And it doesn't matter if you're making a film that's a big budget film, it's a student thesis film, wherever you are along that path, your voice and what you have to say through film, through your sound, through your cinematography, through your story, through the acting, through whatever you do in the film industry, it's so vital that you express that. And it's such a positive, constructive way that you can do that. And me going through that program has certainly changed my life for the better and given me the tools to move forward into the career of being a sound mixer that I am now.
So you said it changed your life, but it didn't change your direction. You said you got a taste of all these different areas on film, but you still stayed true to this interest that you've expressed in sound since you were young.
Well, that's the thing is, I can go back when I can remember when I was a little kid, and we all make believe and stuff like that. And of course, I was Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, and everyone in between. And I created my own radio station, and I even created. I just going a little bit out there, but I even created 2 different people that were like my correspondents out in the field, and just make believe. But I grew up being an amateur DJ, and eventually I would DJ weddings and stuff like that when I got into that. And I had so much fun with it because I love music. I also am an avid music lover, and I had a copious amount of music that, I could tell great stories about getting all that together and being able to do that. And so it was just a lot of fun. I was able to enjoy creating a radio station, and eventually I created my own TV station. So
fantasy radio station. You didn't broadcast.
No. It was definitely a fantasy radio station. Yes, it was. And my fantasy TV station, I remember one year I saved every TV guide for 1 year, and I created my own 24-hour network back then. So
you invented the 24-hour network before CNN got to it.
Well, CNN was inventing it, and I'm like, well, why not? Why can't I do this? It's like, you see it done, then maybe I can do it better. I don't know. But that's basically from all of that is, I had a love for sound. And then that later led to podcasting, which I said I'm in my 10th year this year, 2018, of doing podcasts, of creating them from the ground up, ideas, everything, on-air talent and all that. And it's a labor of love. And it's a way, because that I love to talk. And I feel that need to express myself, and that's a really positive way that I can express myself through that. And when I geek out on things, and so that's
you are rarely at a loss for words. So what's been the big transition then after you did the Georgia Film Academy and now you're in sound? What's different? What did you discover about working professionally in film, or what was the big surprise or change?
You have to know the fundamentals, and those will always come into play. You will have to know that basic training that you have, but you have to take it a step further. You have to take it up a notch. When you are like a sound mixer, you're an independent contractor. You have to look for jobs. No one's going to bring them to you. You have to look for them. You have to work hard. You have to put in that perseverance. I made a purchase of my own equipment, and I was blessed enough that I could purchase professional sound equipment. And then hopefully with the good technique that I have, it has paid off for me in the field. And I've gotten several gigs and done a lot of short films and interned on a feature film. So, there's more to come. The future's wide open as it goes.
Now, that feature film you mentioned, that was really the first project. You've done a lot of other short films, but
yes,
that was the first project you were on. So what was that experience like?
That was the movie Galveston. And I literally found this, I don't know if you call this breaking news, but I was looking today on IMDb and I noticed that Galveston, it had already premiered, and it stars, first off, Elle Fanning and Ben Foster. And I got to intern as part of the GFA, Georgia Film Academy, on that film. And it was a wonderful, eye-opening, mind-blowing, awesome experience to every day see a feature film being made in front of my eyes, piece by piece. And of course, everything is done out of sync. And that's how films are made. But when we did that film, when I got to intern on that, I got to see so many different parts of how the film was made. And
you actually lucked out, though, and you were on the sound department, because you could have been
I got to
anywhere.
Intern in the sound department, work with some wonderful professionals there in the sound department, and learned a lot. And even it's been just a little bit over a year since that experience, but I learned so much. And I look back 6 months ago, I look back a year ago, and I felt so green. I was like, wow, this is, I didn't know what this equipment was. I had a general idea, but coming from a DJing point of view, certain things, turntables, CDs, DVD players. I can take it back to cassettes because that's how I roll. And now everything's streamed and it's digital. But when you get into the one department that I ended up picking as what I wanted to do, you had said to me, did you have to pick the one that costs the most?
The most expensive equipment.
Yeah, that's me. I love my gadgets. I'm like a Tony Stark there, kind of.
Were there any particular moments on the set that you can recall that were particularly eye-opening or fun or different, unexpected?
One of the highlights was Bo Bridges walking up to the sound department, got out of his vehicle, walks right over to the sound department, such a professional, a very nice gentleman, puts his paper down, puts his arms out, and he knows the drill. And the boomer went ahead and mic'd him up, and the sound mixer there. And so I just got to witness that. I was face to face with Bo Bridges, and how cool is that, And so that was, one of those star sightings, obviously, being on set there, and working in several different beautiful locations in Savannah for that film. And I am hoping that film, which I think I hinted at earlier, debuted at the South by Southwest Festival there. But I saw today online that Galveston is debuting in Russia, August 16th, 2018.
We're not going to Russia.
I want to go to Russia and just to see the film.
Hopefully we'll be here soon.
Yes. Hopefully it's coming to the States, and it's such a great movie. It needs to see that big theater treatment.
Wasn't there a particular scene in the script that called for some sort of magic gadgetry or something you had to put together to try to get a particular recording?
Well, I kind of came up with the idea of it, but I didn't really do the execution of it. Now, one of the tricks, and that was with a phone call and an apparatus, and I'm not taking credit for that, but I was there as part of the group that masterminded the idea, and it worked beautifully. So we captured the sound out of an old phone booth. And there was another wonderful thing that I learned when I was on Galveston, truly from the professional sound mixer there, and was we had to get sound from the splash of Elle Fanning jumping into the water. And so we took a coat hanger, bent the coat hanger, and we put a mic in there and wrapped a condom around it and put it in the water there, and, to waterproof it and all that. And amazing, there's things like that. You get to do those, what they call plant mics. That's a fun thing to do. Like when I walk into a set, I look around, obviously, and so do other sound mixers and boomers and people in the sound department. But you look around and you look for every possible place you can look for a plant mic. And there's so many things online. You'll see people post different places where they plant mics, and literally in my mind when it said plant mic, I literally went, this shows how green I was at first. I said, oh, plant mic. They must mean you put a mic in a plant. But
that's the greenery department.
You can do that. That could be a plant mic, I suppose. But wherever you plant a mic is home, right?
Is there such a thing as too many mics then?
There probably could be, but I would rather, I believe in extra. That's a little saying I have. I believe in extra. So I'd rather have more coverage than not enough coverage. And that's just a personal preference there and for me. And but working like with the professional sound equipment that I was lucky enough to invest in, and it put me, I think, on a higher level. Not that having the best equipment in the world makes you the best sound mixer, but even going back to my days of DJing and stuff like that, it's always about good quality. Like if you have a car that's really not dependable, you're not going to drive cross country in it if it's not dependable. But if you invest in a car, that is dependable, that has a solid engine and good tires and everything else, then you can probably go cross country and back, or you could just fly and save the money, or not.
I don't know.
Well, you wouldn't save money. Yeah, it's probably not. I'd rather teleport, but that's just me. We're working on that.
So. You talked about the artistry of it. What other kinds of things have you done just to explore sound?
Oh my gosh. Well, everybody does a sound reel, so I was able to go out to some of the marshlands around here, around Sunrise, and I did a few sound reels. That's always an ongoing project. And the ironic thing is, I was doing stuff like this before I knew I wanted to be a sound mixer. So, a sound mixer, sound recordist, I was doing this stuff anyway, and not to the best quality. We didn't have the best equipment back then, but it's always something. I love capturing the sound of nature. Some of the things I like, even especially on the big screen and maybe a good surround sound, digital IMAX sound or whatever, is the sound of gravel under someone's feet, the sound of the ocean crashing in, the sound of leaves, the crackle of leaves. And Blade Runner 2049 was a great movie for cinematography, and it was also a great movie for sound design. They did a wonderful job in that movie, just painting a picture, just like you would with Star Wars. So everything comes back to Star Wars, or in your case, Star Trek.
In your world, yeah.
Yeah.
So now switching gears a little bit. Now you've got this radio program, and what are you? And you talked about creating your own radio show and radio station when you were a child. Now you're really doing it. So what is it about radio that you just find so attractive?
Well, I love talking to people.
Really?
Yeah.
That's hard to tell.
I used to work in HR, and I loved that. And sometimes I'd talk more to the people because I genuinely cared about what the people had to say. Back in the 90s here in Savannah, I'm a local, been here all my life, and love it. And I hosted downtown in City Market, this place. I used to have a poetry group down there because I write poetry too. I haven't written recently, but I would go down to the poetry group because I would force myself to expose myself to people I would normally see every day, and I think we need to do more of that. And Savannah's a wonderful, diverse city that has so many wonderful types of people, all different ages and everything else. And I feel like the more I interact with people, especially creative people, the more alive I feel, the more passionate I feel about what I'm trying to accomplish. And I want to always have that feeling. It's very satisfying to go through life to know that you can try new things. You know, it was a big leap of faith for me to try this, the radio station thing, and I never thought I'd be sitting behind a console like I am right now, and hopefully this won't be the last time.
No, I'm pretty sure you're going to show next week.
yeah, that's the plan, and all that. I guess next time I'm sitting behind a console, it'll be a Starship. So, but I wonder how soundproof that is. We could do some sound design there. So
what excites you about talking to these people? You talk about how we have this very diverse sort of culture here in Savannah, but what are you trying to accomplish in these conversations?
I'm trying to learn, and I'm trying to better myself, and I'm trying to open my horizons to newer things. And I think that can only bring about good if we learn to understand each other and we learn to move through life learning different things about people and realizing their experiences. We have so much in common, and we have less that's uncommon. And when we bridge those gaps, I really feel that's where the power is. That's the power of the human condition. And being in the film industry, you get to capture a moment in time. It's like taking that, as they say, Polaroid picture, Mama, don't take my Kodachrome away, as Paul Simon once said. But in movies, you're capturing a moment in time. You're capturing the beauty, the essence of what's going on, and you are able to do that in film. And so that's one of the things that I really like there. So, well, we're going to take a quick break here in a second, but we've got just a few more questions here.
Okay, well, you talked about meeting these people, but do you have any specific goals for the show?
Oh, yes, I do. I really want to empower people. I want to get people excited about the film community. I want to talk to everyone who's changing things, who's making Savannah be on that map, the new Hollywood, which we are, and like, Hollywood who? No, it's going to be Savannah. Savannah has so much to offer and so many wonderful things. So that's what I really want to do with the show here. I want to make sure that we highlight the best of Savannah and everybody along that journey as they're going through. So that's kind of how I feel about that. I think now we're going to pause for just a little bit of a break here, and we're going to be back in just a second here.
This is WRUU-LP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul. Listen to the finest in 20th and 21st century classical music on Contemporary Classics from 8 to 10 p.m. on every Tuesday evening.
WRUU brings you the most diverse and passionate local radio programming on the air in Savannah. This all-volunteer and non-profit community radio station accepts no money from any form of government. Our diversity and independence is made possible only through the generous financial support of listeners like you. We rely on your annual and ongoing monthly contributions to cover the many costs associated with bringing you our broadcast and web programming. If you are a contributor, thank you. If you are not yet a contributor, please show your appreciation of the role WRUU plays in your life by becoming a contributor in any amount. You can donate quickly and easily by credit card or check. Just find the donate and subscribe links at WRUU.org. Thanks for listening to and supporting WRUU.
the Martin de Porres Society and Congregation Mikveh Israel present their second annual Camp Lighthouse Jazz Concert on Sunday, June 17th at 4:30 p.m. at Mikveh Israel on Monterey Square in Savannah. The event will feature Teddy Adams Quartet with Huxley Scott and will benefit Camp Lighthouse, providing multicultural learning experiences for youth ages 5 to 12 in the areas of the arts and technology. For more information, call 912-358-8887.
And we're back. So, welcome back. So where do we leave off?
Well, you were talking still about the interviews that you want to do on this show, Savannah on Film. And so what are some of the things that you want to accomplish with the program?
Well, I definitely want to talk to people in the industry, like I said, up and down the chain, from the person who is trying to break into the business and their struggles. I want to know what it takes, what is their experience, their unique experience, because everybody, even though we have similar experiences, we have unique experiences. And I want to know what their journey is. I want to learn their journey. I certainly want to talk to interesting people, and I'm sure there's so many interesting, wonderful stories out there. And I want to know what makes those people tick. What makes you get up in the morning and you're an actor and work a 12-plus hour day and then psych yourself up to go out the next day and do it? What makes you get up to run your photography business while you're doing that on the side and you're acting and you're, doing other things, and you're directing and you're producing, I want to know what it takes for that, from casting coaches to still photographers, to set dressers, to everybody that's in the crew. I want to know what anyone can expect from those in the film industry. If I'm totally alien to the fact of being in the film industry, I want to know who and what it's going to take, Of course, it's a learning experience along the way. It's a journey.
Yeah, if you said we're avid credit watchers, so we usually stay, even when it's not a Marvel film,
That's true.
when there's not something, coming up at the end, we stay and we watch the entire credits and see, how big is the effects department, how many people in the sound department, how many people who are special assistants and set drivers and all that. And I think, to me, that's a little bit about respect, but it's also about how many, just huge numbers of people it takes to make a film. And so I'm excited about the idea that you're going to talk across all of those departments and see just how many opportunities there are.
Yes, I'm definitely excited about that fact. Like I said, I want to see what makes people tick, what makes them feel that this is their passion. Why is acting your calling? What is it that burns in your soul that says, I have to get up today and I have to act and I have to become this other person to achieve my dreams? And I can be another person, I can be this person. That's just acting, for example. But, what it takes to work in Grip and Electric, what it takes to, what are the pitfalls? And one of the things is I believe in learning and passing on what you know. And that's the thing, knowledge is great to have, but if you keep that knowledge to yourself, it's a little selfish, I think, personally. I think you kind of feel, at least I believe, that someone should share that. Like, if I have knowledge and I've passed on knowledge, I've had people that have worked with me, alongside me, and I don't look at them as people working for me. I look at them as people working with me, because, we all have our own learning curves. We all are on some stage of our development to becoming that better person, to getting to that next level where we are going to achieve great things. And we may see the next Scorsese. We may see the next Tom Hanks coming out of Savannah, and hopefully we'll see them passing through and making some movies
At least.
At the very least, you never know, the next Oprah Winfrey might start out on a movie set. She might be a PA. You never know.
Well, and that's one of the things too. I think there are these careers that you've mentioned that everyone sort of could think of on a film set with the set decorator and the actors and all. But there are also careers in there like accountant.
Exactly.
If you want to be an accountant,
office,
you could be an accountant in any industry. Why choose the film industry?
Because it's different. Every day could be a different day. But to an extent, in a production office, it's pretty much if everything's running well, it runs well. And just like on a movie set, you're going to have hiccups on anything. You'll have a few hiccups here or there, but basically, it runs like a well-oiled machine. It's all about pre-planning. Like when you're making a movie, when you just don't set out to make a movie, wake up today and say, I'm going to make a movie. Well, you could. But should you? You should pre-plan first. So more pre-planning will help you out in the end. And one thing I do like about the film industry is you can be at any age. You can start at any age. And you can be the next great actor. You can be the next director, producer. You can be a screenwriter. It doesn't matter. The film industry doesn't care itself that way, in the sense that you have that potential. And this is a wonderful occupation that doesn't feel like a job. Sometimes it does feel like a job when you have those 12, 14 plus hour days, fratter days and stuff like that.
Fratter days.
Yeah. When you get one of those, you don't really want to continue going on. But, there are a lot of people that consider themselves failed at it. I'm just a failed film student, or I'm a failed playwright, or I'm a failed this. You're not failed. I want people to be empowered to realize you haven't failed. You just haven't found the right exact script. You haven't found the right way to say it. It takes practice. You have to work at your craft. You have to learn your craft. And it's important to have people that are past that stage where you are technologically or in their method or whatever, that they can pass on that information to you and help you grow as a person. And you will grow, like I said, you will grow as a person. You'll also grow in your craft. You'll grow and you'll be a much more fulfilled person. And once you work in the film industry, you're never going to want to go back to another job. You're going to love it that much. And usually I think that's a story for some people. Some people it's not. But, if you have that calling, if you feel it deep down and you work really hard, you can achieve anything. And that's one of the purposes of Savannah on Film, this show here. I want to talk to those people, and if you're out there, Savannah, I know you are, and I know you're listening, and you got a great station that will allow this conversation, so that's awesome. Let's talk, and we can have a dialogue and continue with a lot of the great leaders, a lot of the wonderful people and organizations in the city and entrepreneurs that are doing wonderful things to bring film to Savannah. We all are part of the same team. We're all working together. We're all working to strive to achieve that next level of excellence.
Well, and I think you talked about how much planning goes into a film as a total outsider. And I've done a lot of event planning, as you know, in my career. And people come to events, they have no idea how much work has gone into that. But when you got your first call sheet on a feature film, just the level of detail and planning that went into that. I think, people on the outside who just go to a movie, you don't really think about that. And even in movies, when they talk about making movies, it just seems simple, but it's not. And some people have said before that if you are truly in the film industry, it will ruin your movie watching experience. Because you'll start finding things. But you and I already kind of found, we'd find those few things here that weren't quite drone
right.
shadows.
Yeah, and different things like that, and things that shouldn't be there. And sometimes that's fun. But when you have a craft like sound, you are painting a picture with sound. That's how I look at sound, being a sound mixer. And you're crafting a world, and you need the world to hear what that director, what that screenwriter, what the producer, what they want their audience to not just hear, but they're going to feel it too.
The total experience.
The total experience. And from the cinematography point of view, that's the visual. And sometimes sound doesn't get the respect that the cinematography, they may wait a while to get the shot just perfectly lit, and there's nothing wrong with that. But sound is vitally, I say at 60%. Some people say a little bit less, but sound is very important. I don't think I haven't sat through some films that were beautiful, but just had wretched sound and, like nails on a chalkboard. Nobody wants to hear that. Yeah. And the same works in reverse. If you have the best sounding film, but the camera you used or the lighting is just really poorly lit, it makes all the difference in the world. So that's the dilemma. That's where each department comes together. It's a piece of a pie, and every part of that pie has to fit together just perfectly to get that perfect shot. That's why if you're a background actor or you're an actor, it may take several takes for them to get that shot and, print that shot. That's the shot right there. There may be a certain inflection in the actor's face, the way the light falls, everything. It's like a perfect storm of just beauty when a shot comes together. And even if you're the cable puller, the cable wrangler, you were
best boy. That's my favorite in the list.
Best boy. Yeah. If you're the best boy, whatever. If you're crafty, everybody loves crafty. Can you imagine a hungry set?
There has to be food.
I'm sorry, Mr. Cruz, we've run out of whatever your favorite candy is or whatever right now. I want Rolos on the set now. Do they still make Rolos?
I think so.
I love Rolos. I did. But anyhow, so it's all about empowering people and helping them realize their potential. I think that's a big portion of what we're doing.
Well, Ed, you've talked quite a bit about film, and the name of this program is Savannah on Film. So what is it about Savannah that makes this such a great place to make film?
Look around. Just look around.
It's kind of rainy right now.
Well, yeah, I'm looking out the studio here. It's a little cloudy, a little overcast. But even rainy days are awesome in Savannah. We have such beautiful architecture. We have beautiful farmland around here, just a little outside of town. We have the beaches. We have so much history. We have the old and the new, the modern and the historic. And they work hand in hand, and a lot of this has been planned out. And some cities that look like me playing Sim City, you go to a city and the road just stops there. It's like plop a building there, plop something else there. But Savannah's different than that. Savannah's a beautiful, planned, wonderful city. It's gorgeous. It's been in so many movies, so many different parts of Savannah. Obviously, one of the biggest ones, Forrest Gump. The wonderful, beautiful squares. I mean,
well, and even going back further than that with Glory back in the 1980s, where they took advantage of River Street, and of course we've got the forts around here too, and the marshes. I think all we lack is mountains, but they can put that in
Well, if we have a good volcanic eruption, or
I'm not aware of any volcanoes nearby.
I don't know. Then maybe we'll end up with something like that. I don't know, but I hope not. No tsunamis, please. We're good. Then you have, even in the state of Georgia, in Atlanta. Atlanta is an urban, very urban city, one of the busiest cities in the country, and they have a beautiful landscape if you're looking, for that more business-like. But that's the thing about movies. You can go anywhere in Savannah, and I can't personally, but a good film crew can take a couple buildings in Savannah and make it look like high rises. The magic that can be done in film is amazing. And in our lifetime, certainly. And we've seen, CGI and other things like that, but a lot of people like the authenticness of things. And that certainly can be done. You can transform when you see a place you go by every day, you walk down the street, whatever, and then the next thing you know, you're on a movie set, and Ant-Man and the Wasp is here.
When they turned Broughton Street into Ocean Breeze Way or whatever for SpongeBob SquarePants.
and that was awesome.
All the street signs were wrong.
Yeah, I was like, this doesn't make sense. I think
we were all living on a set.
We were all living on a set, and life is but a movie, I suppose.
Well, we hear all these stories about different film actors in particular who come to film here and then decide they want a home here, and they keep coming back to Savannah. What is it, do you think, about the area or the people here?
The people, well, I was going to say the people. The people are what makes Savannah. All the people in Savannah make Savannah the wonderful place that it is. It's every portion of Savannah. It's not just downtown. It's not just the south side, the east side, the west side, the whatever side. It's the beach. It's everything that Savannah is, and it's the wonderful people in Savannah that have that to offer, that the southern hospitality that we're known for. And being born in Savannah, I know, you got to be a Southern gentleman or whatever. And there's the old ways and there's the new ways too. But, the thing is, Savannah is a good mix of the old and the new. And there's just a niceness in Savannah. There's a kindness in Savannah that when a lot of film crews come here, they're like, wow, they're just really kind, inviting people. You feel like you can make a movie at someone's house and they're going to probably make cornbread and biscuits for you and give you some nice iced tea or something like that, and tell you to sit a spell and let's talk a while. And that's just how we are in the South here, and that's a wonderful thing.
Well, and I think, having been raised in Savannah myself, the difference that it's made in the culture here to have big films coming. And so just to have that opportunity to see like Patrick Stewart down on Broughton Street or Daryl from The Walking Dead hanging out in the wormhole. And, you can just be on social media and say, hey, I think I saw so-and-so. And, you probably did see so-and-so, whatever so-and-so you thought it was. They were in Savannah. And if they weren't making a film, they were visiting a friend who was making a film.
John Travolta was just seen in Haranos again.
Oh, yeah. There was actually a picture of him at Haranos.
Well, he was recently there,
Well, of course, you can always go down to Leopold's. They're always going to show up there to see Stratton Leopold.
Oh, yeah.
Get some ice cream.
He's done a lot for this city and filmmaking and bringing a lot of things and even, with the GFA. So a lot of praise goes that way, too, because it didn't happen overnight, and it takes a village to make this beautiful city look as wonderful as it does, but it's beautiful regardless.
Well, and don't you think you've got to give some credit to the state and local government for this as well?
Certainly. There's the tax incentives. Had we not had the forward thinking of getting those tax incentives, then there wouldn't be so many productions coming here. I mean, because let's be honest, it comes down to the bottom line for a lot of things. And, you've got to watch the budget. That's part of running a business. A movie is a mini business, and it's,
That's pretty major business when you're talking about multi-million-dollar films.
Yes, you're right. You're right. It's very major, especially when you have something like Avengers, making $2 billion at the box office and counting, Black Panther, all these wonderful movies that I enjoy, and even movies like Gifted that came through here.
Yeah.
And you have such wonderful movies being made, and there's so much more stories to be told from Savannah.
So why do we see that peach on the films?
For that tax credit.
Extra tax money.
That might as well be a dollar sign on that peach right there, because that's what it means, and it means tax credits. And I think they're working on, or may have achieved already, an extra tax incentive for filming in the Savannah area. Mm-hmm. So that gives even more incentive to have films made here in Savannah, or the outlying areas. So set up your base camp in Savannah, and there's a lot
and then go to Singapore or wherever else.
Well, whatever you got to do. So,
Well, you said you're a lifelong Savannaian, but
Mm-hmm.
the film industry, you could work anywhere, and maybe
You
you would
can.
get more opportunities if you went somewhere else. But
Are
why
you
do
telling
you?
me to get another job?
No, well, that would be nice, but why do you,
No.
as a the sound guy, why do you want to be in
Someone-
Savannah making films yourself?
Well, there's nothing like working in a beautiful location. There's nothing like working in your backyard, and I've got nothing against not working in my backyard. But if it's come to me, and it's possibilities, and then certainly I would be a fool not to try for any films in that genre. Here, So definitely, it's nice to have a beautiful place that we're going to film at and have stuff going on. So.
It's a lot closer to go to work too.
It's a lot
just down the
closer to go to
street.
work, yeah, and I'm a local, so
Of course, when you're working on a film, you're working somewhere else every day too. You're not usually in the same place 2 days in a row.
That's true. Well, Cheryl, I want to thank you for joining me today and helping me launch Savannah on Film. Oh, I'm sorry. Was there anything else? There was nothing else?
It's your show.
It's my show. That's right. It's weird. I'm being interviewed not by myself. That comes later when I'm doing the interview with
In your
myself.
head.
In my head, yeah.
Which will still be out loud.
So I want to thank everybody for joining us today for Savannah on Film for our first episode here. And here at WRUU-LP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRRU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul. You have been listening to another episode of Savannah on Film, where we give a voice to the Savannah film community. Please like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on Twitter. This program was originally broadcast on 107.5 FM in Savannah, Georgia, and worldwide on www.wruu.org. Join us next time for more intriguing insights into the vibrant Savannah film community here at Savannah on Film.